Maruti's first attempt to crack the premium market wasn't the most successful, but the Baleno did have the enthusiasts pretty excited. Here was a fast, fun family sedan with performance to match the biggies.
Now you can pick up a good one of these for about a lakh or so, but brand new they were about 8 lakhs. And if you were a middle class kid growing up in the 2000s, you had to be drooling all over your carpet before you could have one. I had to wait until 2006 to have this one, but only after Maruti reduced the prices to about 6 lakhs after some more localization. Now it was a capable car that could trade punches with the Honda City and Mitsubishi Lancer in its day. There was even an estate version called the Altura, but that found even fewer households than the sedan.
Part of its lackluster sales were the look. It was far from the sharpest looking car in its class when it rolled out. The front end looked unassuming but unmistakably like a Baleno. The pre-facelifted cars had a different grille, but they all had these black outlines on the headlamps. It was sort of more rounded and curvier than its rivals. The proportions are spot on and it looks somewhat good from the sides. Then we get to the rear of this thing.
I want to meet the man who came up with that rear end and ask him how he went on with his last day of designing the car. How did he come up with something so depressing? Did he have a quarrel with his wife? Did his dog just die that morning? Or did he simply run out of ideas? And it's especially ruthless that they had such a badly designed rear end uproad, because that's what most people got to see on the road.
Because up front there was a beating heart of a 1.6 litre 16 valve motor. It was only a single cam which, though inferior on paper, made it lighter. It raves to 6500 rpm and slightly beyond. Called the G16B, it's a long stroke version of the G13B from the ST. It uses the same head and most components are quite similar.
This is one of those later cars which had a more restrictive cat con, and it produces 91 brake horsepower instead of the 94 brake horsepower that the earlier ones came with. Even then, this is quick to move off the line, and thanks to the long stroke, it has more low down torque. This one has done about 55,000 kilometers and it's still strong as a whistle. It may not have the creaminess of the Honda VTEC motor, but it more than makes up for it with a better low end and more mid-range. The gearing on this was so tall, this one could do 110 in second gear. The downsides, this being a 1600cc, falls into a higher insurance group than the 1.5 litre Honda City. We have quotes for the two cars here for identical age and similar IDVs. The City costs about 6,500 while the premium for the Baleno is around 9,000. So the City had more power and was the more expensive car in its day. Yet for 100cc more, you had to shell out about 30% more premium for the Baleno. But then to me, it was always a better car than the Honda City. Make no mistake, I love the VTEC, but this had the better suspension, better brakes and more grip. It also had the better air conditioning, better ride quality and a more comfortable rear seat. If I were to nitpick, I wish this steering was a bit more direct and this gear shift was a little less rubbery. Now mine has some modification done to the engine, suspension, brakes and gearbox. I don't drive it every day, but whenever I do, it's a lot of fun. There is so much cabin insulation, straight line stability and matured feel built into modern cars that they don't feel fast unless you are doing way over the speed limit. In this, you feel like you are doing 150, 160 while you're barely past 100.
This, like the rest of the cars in this series, is a testament to the time when cars were much simpler yet somehow more exciting. Cars have come and cars have gone, but this one has stayed with me for over 13 years now.
Can't say that about your girlfriend, can you?
Give it a couple of years and I might even marry it.